initially came out here because I thought that they were cutting down trees in my property. That's why I initially came out here, because I initially thought that somebody was, it sounded closer than it was, and it smelled like it was right there. This is where I smelled it. I smelled it right along here. From me to that tree, you would have thought, if you were blind and it was just your nose, you would have thought it was that tree. Look how far it is to get to their property. You see the daylight. That's where their property is. Luckily, I was glad that no one was, illegally logging on my land. I was very glad of that. But as soon as I hear, their commotion over there, and as soon as I realise, okay, nothing's going on, I hear something on the other side. And again, it's my ears deceive me, because they've also gotten sharpened. I've always heard stuff no one else can hear, but this is beyond. I thought that they were that they were within bounds. Yes, I thought that maybe they were further along where the road is. The road, again, where you see daylight, that's where the road is. So I thought that they were probably, just shy of the road initially. But then I heard it again and I thought, no, they are way, way, way behind the fence, way inside the fence. So people a lot of times will, you see that, pay about right there on the other side of the road. There's a little, I'll take you through in a minute where I thought they were, but there's a little spot that they like to sit and do drugs. And honestly, as long as you're on the road, I don't give a fuck what you're doing as long as you're on the road. If you're not harming any trees, if you're not hunting or cutting down trees, I don't give a fuck what you're doing. I really don't. The only time I get mad is when somebody is actually threatening the land in some way. And I got, several feet in, and usually I would have to go all the way up, almost at the road. I would have to go all the way up at the road. But I got a few feet in, probably where that first tree is, and nowhere as close as this. And man, it was ripe. It was so ripe. I smelled the, whatever they were doing, probably pot, but I smelled that, and it was just ripe. And I thought, okay, they can't be chopping down trees because, obviously it's drugs. But I heard the saw, and again, like from me to that tree, I smelled freshly cut pine. And so I thought, I have to check both sides to make sure no one's chopping down trees. So I growled a little bit, and I think that scared them because they thought there was a guard dog or something. And they actually got in their truck and drove off. But I'm sure they'll be back. I don't want to get too downwind of that because I can still smell it out here. It's not as ripe as it was, but I can still smell it. I did not like the smell of it. I've got no use for that. Really, I've got no, I have. People call me odd because I can't stand the smell of it. I'm like an animal. Even before all this shifted, even before it got even more heightened, than it already was, I was still sensitive to any loud smells, sounds, or anything. Bright lights. I was. So my whole life I've been too sensitive to even give it a try. Honestly, I'm insane enough as it is. I'm the last person that needs to be doing something like that. So we're going to cross the stream. Really, it's more like a creek. Every once in a while it's good to make them know they've got to stay on the road. So we cross the creek. This is the fun part. You get to sit and wait and see what happens. See who comes along or doesn't. Honestly, they've probably gone. They've probably either gone for a break or gone somewhere else, but they're here so much on the weekend. I wouldn't be surprised if they came back. Doing a property check like this also helps me understand exactly where they've been and where they haven't. They've not been here. They've not been anywhere near here. They stayed over that way, actually more like that direction. Because because you don't smell anything. You don't smell, it was so ripe over that way. You don't smell anything right here, so that's good. I stuck to that one spot on the road. But I want to make sure there's no hunters. It's getting dusk. And if a hunter was going to come and hunt illegally, it would be now. I've had a lot of problems with hunters. A lot of times they're already drunk when they come out here, which is not a good combination. You know, a deer rifle and a bottle of whiskey or something, not a good combination. That spot where you see daylight. Kind of yay. That is where they got back in the truck and sped off. You can see just how far we've come. You can't even see where we were. You can barely see the creek. So I'm just going to sit here and see who shows up. Honestly, I probably spooked them. I heard something over there, but I think it was just a squirrel. I honestly think I spooked them. Be quiet for a bit and wait, I hear a car coming. So yeah, that was the same car. They passed right by me. I don't know if you could hear that, and I didn't want to aim the camera at it because there is a bit of a thin area where the woods are. That was the same car. I could definitely see them, and I'm pretty sure if they look hard enough they could see me. That was actually on purpose. I want them to see me spying on them at least once. I don't want them to think that I'm videotaping them, because this is not about trying to get them in prison or anything. It's not about that at all. I just want them to stay off my land, and I want them to stay on the road. And I want to know how many times they come by here after they know that I'm onto them. If they come on the road all the time, it's fine. But every once in a while, you're gonna have to let them know that someone's watching. Usually they spend no more than about 10-20 minutes, you know, and then they start driving back the other way. So let them get out of the car. That was like a good 5 to 6 minutes that they waited. That's really odd, to get out of the car. And they're all the way over there. They're closer to my neighbour's house. My other neighbour on the other side. It's really good to know, but that's all it was. I've gone a complete perimeter check. Just your average weekend, people getting high in the woods. Well, technically at the wood's edge. And when I heard them, they were actually on the other side. Earlier I got them, the first time I heard them. They were sitting actually on the other side of the road, in the woods, on the other side of the road. You know, not even on my side, but on all the way on the other side. So they didn't even try to sit here. So back to the creek now. I thought that's what it was, but I had to make sure that there was no trees cut down anywhere else. Because that smell was so, I mean it was like for me to that tree. It was like that tree had just been cut. I mean, that was so ripe. I had to make sure. Because my sniffer now, I can smell things from further away. I'm not used to that, and I think it's a lot closer than it is. I think it's 20-30 times closer than it is. It's insane. I think before that I had maybe a 3 to maybe 5 or 6 times what a normal person would smell. Obviously I don't think I smell as good as a dog, but or a wolf, because the distance you have to account for. Okay, there's a breeze, the distance, it can be wafting. Alright, look at this, look at it. That is a really tall deer. If that's a deer. Kind of looks like fresh antler rub. That is almost 5 feet tall. Well, I know he stands on his hind legs, but still, you know. Wonder if that's not a red deer instead of a white-tail. One of those elk hybrids that they have running around, maybe. Alright, so on our way back. But yeah, I mean, I stand here and I can still smell the whiff. I can still smell it. Oh, it's nasty. And this is directly, if you drew a straight line, you could draw the line from where they were at the road from here. If I go this way or that way, I don't smell it. It's only where you can draw the straight line to where I heard them on the other side of the road earlier, and that was 2-3 hours ago now. So obviously it's wafting. And as far as the smell of pine, I don't smell that now. And I know if it was my property, I'd still smell it. Again, we're back to right where we were before, where I thought the pine was being cut. All the way we see the daylight, that's where it was actually cut, which is not my property. It's my neighbour's. So neighbour number 1 cuts wood. Neighbour number 2 is where the car went to when I was up there. But that's not what my neighbours usually drive. It does not mean that they are affiliated with them at all, but they probably are. Again, I don't give a fuck if you're doing bloody heroin. Just stay out of my property and don't cut down trees and don't kill animals, and I'm fine. But all this ruckus because my sniffer is tricking me, thinking I'm not used to this. No, I can't believe that it's that strong. This is someone who since birth has always had heightened senses, and it's surprising me. So that's really saying something. I've heard the car drive up and back, up and back, up and back a few times. I just haven't heard it actually stop. So I'm going to see what I can see that I hear at night, and you can't see anything because the camera doesn't pick up what my eyes can see, but I actually can see quite well, especially now that my eyes has adjusted. I can see even with no moon and cloud cover, and it's actually really heavy clouds right now because it's raining, drizzling. I can smell it. I can. So I know that as they've been driving, they might not have gotten out of their car, but that up and back, up and back, up and back, they've at least come back and done it again in their car because I can smell it. Now I used to not be able to see in pitch black like this with no moon. So I won't say it's pitch black, but it's almost. I wouldn't be able to see before, and now I can. So even my sight's it's changed.